All right, so excuse the like I'm sitting outside in the car, but we're gonna talk about generational curses or karmic ties, whichever title suits you to use. Now, all generational curses and karmic ties are toxic behavioral patterns within a family that continue in our external environments. How does it continue into our external environments? Because we attract that vibration. Like, for instance, a lot of people end up, a lot of men end up basically marrying or being attracted to someone similar to their mother, or, a female leader in their family that they looked up to as their mother, or just happened to look up to. I'm trying to get the light here, but all right, that's beside the point. Um, or a lot of women end up marrying their fathers. Same thing, and where that comes into play in the hardships of relationships, romantic sense, and friendships and things of that nature is, with us still being attached to those karmic ties or generational curses, we will still attract those into our lives because that's the vibration that we are at. That's the energy that we are subconsciously putting out. Whether we might be past that, especially if you're an empath, and but it's something that we didn't necessarily heal from, because the first thing is first is we have to take full accountability and acceptance that we may display them in a different way, but they're still there. They might be more subtle or less frequent, but it's still there. um I had noticed from my personal experience that the karmic ties that I was bringing in, which seems to be a very very heavy one, that the term narcissist has been thrown about so much that it must not be that uncommon that that's what we seem to be attracted in the most. Because I mean, let's face it, we all have narcissistic traits. We're born with them. That's our shadow side. Those are the things that we're trying to conquer and defeat on a daily basis. Because I mean, you can still get healed to a certain level, but it's always there. It's always that temptation, that influence that is around, until we, slowly progress and, weed it out. But, it's still around. It's still in the environment. It's still in the world. So it's not something we can just completely get rid of. The dark serves the light and vice versa. But we can eliminate them and eliminate the probability of us encountering them, or not letting it necessarily affect our stability and our foundation that we have built, that we have healed from. We will notice when we heal from something, I mean completely heal from something, when we encounter that, which the universe, source, God, spirit, whatever now you want to use, will put that back in our lives in some way, some shape or form, in order to test us. And that's a way to test our spiritual growth, our evolution, and our personal growth within ourselves. From personal experience, I noticed that codependency was something big in my family. And codependency is not just the psychological definition of it. It's also feeling a need to have something externally, whether it be money, whether it be attention, whether it be love, whether you know not being able to be alone, whatever the case may be. everybody has their own form of codependency. I mean, because hell, anything can be an addiction. Some people are addicted to video games. Some people are addicted to shopping. Some people are addicted to constantly being around other people. Some people are addicted to feeling the need to have someone around. Something outside of ourselves is a form of codependency. When we feel like we need something outside of ourselves, it is codependent. There is a big difference between codependency and reaching out for help. A big difference. And a lot of people be like, well, your external environment, the external environment means absolutely nothing. And let's take it back to the Bible. Jesus didn't have anything. So one would assume that, well, because he didn't, have a stable place to live, and, wasn't sitting in a physical castle and on a physical throne with a crown on top of his head, that, well, you must not have anything, and you must be codependent upon everybody else because you're sleeping at this person's house or on this person's couch and things of that nature, because your external environment doesn't reflect it. There are so many, just like the song, that P Diddy and B came out with. The more money you come across, the more problems you see, which is true, because the more physical things that you have, the more problems you are going to come across, because that's where jealousy, envy, hate, and deceit, lies, cheating, thievery, all that stuff comes into play. If you going out there and you getting Jaguars and putting 20-inch rims on it and sound systems and buying a mansion and all this other stuff, and you didn't came up, and people are going to start putting a price on your head, so to speak. They're gonna, that's where stick up kids come from. Like, you can even take the song, from somebody that actually came from Toledo, the city, where I'm from, Life Jennings, and he actually got a song called "Stick Up Kid." He was dirt poor and stuff, and people was talking about him. And he was like, "Oh, okay, all right, I see you. I'm just gonna get you there." So the more flaunt your stuff, the more problems you're going to encounter. That's why a lot of people who there's a lot of millionaires around here. Like, I've actually met a millionaire at outside, and you would never suspect. And he told me in confidence, this was years ago, and I never would have guessed. Like, I mean, he drove a nice car, but it wasn't nothing too flashy. Like, it was like a F-150, and maybe like 2 years older than what the year that year was. And he was like, but I'm not gonna go out here and shopping and wearing. He's like, I dress nice and stuff like that, but not able to be out here doing all of that, because I don't need to show that I'm well off, because I'm confident within myself. I don't have to prove it to other people or outside means or have this or have that to exploit my comfortability and my awareness within myself. And that says a lot, because that brings up insecurities. A lot of people feel the need to do that because they want to make sure that not only them but everybody else knows that they're doing good and things is popping, and they're handling business and making money and doing all of this. Like, you don't have to do all of that to like, there are some, like, if you look at some of the most influential rappers, like, look at Ice Cube. Like, he not walking around wearing Gucci everything, like hat, belt, shoes, socks, drawers, and all of that. No, like, the dude dressed comfortably. There's a whole bunch of people that just rock, jeans and such. Like, even Jay-Z, like, he got to a certain point, and instead of making all these other labels rich, he took his money and invested in himself and made his own clothing line and started rocking that and Rockaware. It was like, sure, I'm gonna rock my own stuff. Why pay somebody else, and I can make my own clothing line, based off of what it is that I like to wear and things of that nature. And I mean, his stuff isn't all this with all this different color and all that. No, it's got some polos, got some regular basics, got some jeans. Not saying it's basic, but I mean, it's like, it's comfortable stuff, and ain't nothing that's just all out the ordinary. And nor is it like, $300 for one piece, one item. But a lot of generational curses are tied to physical means or a form of codependency, and just feeling the need to fulfill ourselves externally. Now, to notice a pattern of codependency, if you are blessed enough to still go and hang around your family, and because some people it's just you, and my condolences to anybody that has lost anybody and things of that nature. And I could only imagine how hard it could be to be out here and it's just you. I could only imagine, because I mean, yeah, a lot of us may feel alone, but we some of us still have our relatives and families, whether we get along with them or not. Some people who don't have them would like to be like, man, I wish I could say, like, I don't like this cousin or that aunt or my mom or my dad or whatever the case may be. And they're just not in that, have that opportunity to to do that. Even with generational curses, there could also be loss and a generational curse of living in the past and not healing from losses of family and friends who have left and such. I know some people that are really, really close to me that in their immediate family, it's just them. Like, in the immediate family, they are the head of the family, as far as age goes, because everybody else is departed and gone, or there might be just one member hanging on. And that's a tough burden. And with that does come depression and things of that. And I know it's hard to even hear sometimes and be like, yeah, but it doesn't heal my pain. But we gotta still count our blessings and find the happiness in even the most toughest sorrow. And if somebody was, whether they got taken away here too soon, and how it is that we feel and think, and or they die brutally, and because it is a lot of crime and hatred out here. And but there a lot of people who have, like Trayvon Martin, like, unfortunately, the young man passed away in a way that he shouldn't have. But also at the same time, like, he was sent here to live the life that he led. And we God's plan was for that. He God, it happened. But because of that, so many other young men were saved. So many other, young men didn't have to, go all that way without it being known, because, it was going on before him, and it seemed to escalate after, which it didn't necessarily escalate after. It was more attention drawn to it because his case was such a very high profile case that, the news started picking up on that. Well, oh, well, it's happening here. So, to, you know the general public, it seems like it was increasing when it's been going on all along. It's just now the public is aware of it. And, even in deaths, they there is a purpose. There is a beautiful lesson in it, even in the hardest of times. I'm just working with spirits leading me this way, because this was not, what I was planning on discussing. But man, they got me going to some heavy stuff. And when I turned on, my music player, August Alsina's Song Cry came on. So, that can definitely help somebody. That is a very, very, very deep, passionate, well written, multi layered song right there. Like, it's deep. But and I feel like, a lot of us, especially in this, that is on this twin flame journey, and, having this dream of meeting this, perfect person. And, we still have to focus on ourselves and healing what it is that we have going on with us and in our surrounding environment. Whether it's the loss of somebody, because they transition over, or, just them not no longer being in our lives, or whatever the case may be, there's a lesson behind it. What it is, I wouldn't know unless I sat down and actually spoke with you and, talked to you. But from my personal life, getting back on the topic, so that must have been out there for, somebody, and it was 10:44, and when I looked up, it was 17 minutes and 44 seconds. And alrighty. Um, and I know it's hard, man. Just keep on pushing. Tupac smile. Like, it's gonna be things that we not gonna want to smile through. Things that we're not gonna want to keep our head raised. And by all means, you're allowed to feel your grief, your pain, your hurt, your anger, your sorrow. By all means, don't let nobody tell oh, we keep having, no, because I mean, it's definitely easier said than done. Definitely easier said than done. Like, it's tough. It's hard. I lost. I'm not saying, my mom's not my mom, but, I was definitely closer. I was a Ganny's baby, and losing her completely shook, my whole world. Especially being only in high school. But when it comes to generational curses and being able to break them and recognize them, first we have to recognize them within ourselves. We have to notice the toxic behaviors that we are exhibiting and putting out, and then go back in our memory banks. Like, because a lot of people, especially when we have kids, we're like, okay, well, my parents did this, I don't want to do that, to my kid. Or, well, they did this and I don't want to do this to my kid, and this. First, we have to realize that, our parents are humans. They are people capable of mistakes. Our parents are not perfect. They are people, just like, like I'm a parent. Like, I'm far from, perfect when it comes. I don't know what to do with the 4 year old. You know, I work better with teenagers. Like I have no idea how to communicate with a 4 year old. Like they can't really. They just kind of cry and just bust out in tears for no reason. And my little guy got a little bit of a temper. I'm just like, help. And but it's going. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to snap at him if things get hard and be like, okay, it's not even his fault. But what he did, and him being a child, it didn't help my situation, what I'm feeling. But he ain't, he can't, he shouldn't be. I can't go home and kick the dog. When my day is going shitty, so to speak. I'm not saying he's a dog, not anything like that, but just roll with the expression. But we have to realize the traits that it is that we are carrying, and then look at our parents, and then whatever it is that our parents are doing, obviously we attempted to do the opposite or live our life completely opposite. And then all they're doing is basically the opposite of what their parents did for most cases. Now there are some that it just continues on through life, like, okay, my family did this, and did this. But what do you want to do? What fits you for your life? Not trying to correct the wrongs of your parents, because for one, I mean, the past is the past. It's like in the movie Lion King, we can't change the past, so we can either run from it or learn from it. And by trying to form a sense of conditioning to uncondition what our parents did, we're essentially running from it instead of learning from it. Learning from it is healing from it as well. Is finding out, well, why is it that when they did this, why did I get upset? Why? It's going back to that inner child in ourselves, and going back to how we felt as children, not as an adult. And like when I was a kid and this happened or that happened, or I saw this or I saw that, how did it affect us? How would we have wanted our parents to respond? How would we have wanted things to be? Because as adults, we've been tainted with all types of stuff in the exterior world. Kids are the purest form of authentic truth that there is. Like a 3-year-old will come up to you and be like, why is your right ear bigger than your left ear? And you like, you can't just go up to people and say stuff like that. They just raw with it. So they are shadow and light side. Like they just complete authenticity walking around. Which, makes it, all the more important for, us to go back to our inner child and remember what it was like as children in situations and in things. Like go back, like if you was a child, and you came across this situation, or a teenage, or even preteen, what would you have seen or done or wanted done or said to protect your innocence? Because on this journey, we are essentially trying to get back to our innocence, so that we can, hear our conscience or our intuition or spirit, source, God, get back to that authenticity within ourselves that we are proud of, but also with the wisdom and knowledge of the passing years that we can pass on and embody and exhibit in our day-to-day lives. Because every adult is a role model somehow, some way, some shape, some form. We go out in public, like, and there's kids around. Whether you know them or not, they could be looking at you. And I grew up hearing, do as I say, not as I do, but actions speak louder than words. Like, you could say all you want to say, but do completely something different. And that's where, a lot of kids, if drinking is something big in a family, the kids are eventually going to drink, whether they can handle it or not. And whether it's for fun, whether it's a coping mechanism, whatever the case may be. Like, if it was a coping mechanism for a parent, most people are like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that but when they go out and party just for fun, they tend to overdrink. It's just a transference of it, just in a different situation, a different way, shape, form. And this is kind of piggybacking off of what we discussed in the video the other day, as far as accepting our own realities and being responsible of our life as it is right here, right now. Because when we accept, everything for, okay, yeah, I allowed that to happen, yeah, I did that, yeah, I allowed that to happen, and we are our hardest critics. So at first, I mean, that's a tower moment right there. We're going to kind of beat ourselves up a little bit. Like, man, damn, I can't believe I let this happen. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I allowed this. Why did I make that choice? Why did I do that? Especially when Spirit started hitting us with this left and right and giving us all these realizations, like, oh my God, what was I really, really thinking? But, emotions are a very, 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 very powerful thing. And that's why, for a lot of us who are empathic, we have to control that. And especially for divine feminines, like, that's our biggest hurdle, is controlling our own emotions and realizing that somebody or something outside should not have that much effect on our emotional stability. And for divine masculine, nobody outside of you should have anything out on your mind and your choices. A lot of people, get in situations where they be like, oh, we're never going to be anything or do anything. And, you can end up falling victim to pity and blame. Like, well, I was told I wasn't going to ever be shit my whole life and this. And, yep, they're right. Or, you could prove them wrong, but then get too into that and just start, using people as stair steps and just walking on people and be like, well, I don't care, because I was told I wasn't gonna be shit, so I'm gonna do whatever it takes, to get to the top, and not in a high vibrational way. Imagine Dragons is talking about whatever it takes, but in a healthy way. You can't just start stepping over people and using people and other, because I mean, all that eventually is going to come back. Karma is something that is a cause and effect. If you do something, you're going to have effect for it. If you do something, you're going to have effect for it. Dharma is blessings for our intentions, our high vibrational intentions, and following through. Someone can have all the good intentions in the world, but if your actions are wrong, it's not going to do anything. Now, it's different to have, good intentions, and then, you do something, someone's like, well, yeah, no, that wasn't cool. You're like, okay, my bad. I really thought that, that was a good idea. I was truly trying to, just help, or, do something of this or do something of that. And you're like, no, it actually end up, not helping as the way you thought. You're like, okay, well, I mean, I live and learn. My apologies. And ain't nothing wrong with that. It don't make you any less. It don't change who you are. We're all capable of mistakes. We're people. Some of our best lessons come from our mistakes. We wouldn't, if every outcome was good and favorable, we wouldn't learn anything. We wouldn't strive or push ourselves harder to go past our own personal limits or boundaries, or, do something step outside of our comfort zone, if if it wasn't for situations like that. Because I mean, even stepping outside your comfort zone can be, it might not be viewed as bad thing, but you know, nerves or anxiety or something like that is going to come up, and you're like, but because it's uncomfortable, because it's only uncomfortable because it's new. You know, now, you gotta know the difference between, danger and, you doing something new. Of course, you don't mean, just be all reckless and just go out here and do any old every old thing. We ain't trying to do that now either. But with a rational approach, it's like, oh, okay, well, I can do this, and if you decide to go snowboarding, then I mean, you end up breaking a leg, but I mean, yeah, like, oh, well, y'all did this, so that was just a bad. Don't mean, just give up or do it, or or that was just horrible or that. No, I mean, you just okay, might need to take a little bit more lessons, or maybe you just didn't take lessons, you just went ahead and did it. You might need to take lessons or that. Like, you think, Tony Hawk skateboarded, you think he ain't broke something at least once? I guarantee that man that broke something. Them people on the BMX bikes and stuff, I guarantee they done broke something at least once. At least once. I done played many sports. I done ran track and I done dislocated a knee. I done played football and dislocated a shoulder. You get hurt. Hell, the NFL stands for not for long. I mean, no, I wish I was in the NFL, but I did play professional football. Yeah, I did. It was fun too. But but it don't mean, I stopped doing that because it was a lot of wear and tear on my body. And I was like, okay, well, I could do, something else. And I think I still love it. I will play around, but I also don't want to keep dislocating my shoulder. The next time I decide to play, I'll get a whole, the whole brace all going on, and I'll be good to go. I couldn't do that at the time, so it was either, okay, I could go out here and pray to God this tape, which already, because I play so hard and push myself so hard that, I ain't gonna hold myself up, or I go ahead and wait and put it off, and, or, just do something else. It just wasn't in the cards for me to continue, could be for somebody else. By all means, it's no form of discouragement. Don't let my experience ruin anything, because that actually happened outside of playing football, but going back, it popped back out. So I was like, okay, let me not do that. Waited 6 months. 6 months ain't enough time to heal a dislocated shoulder. But, and even with that being said, healing from, generational curses and ties and traits and toxic ways, it takes everybody a different healing period, a different healing process. Not everybody's going to heal the same. Not everybody is going to be on the same timeline. And that's definitely something to take into consideration, especially on this twin flame journey, because you are dealing with another soul that has their own set of, karmic ties and traits and situations and life experiences. So if we can't, understand our own, we're not going to be able to fully understand and appreciate somebody else and understand and, be there, because something could come up that, you could be healed all you want, and, something comes up that you were just completely unaware of, and it pops up and you're like, oh, well, dang, I thought I was Gucci, and I didn't even know that this. Well, damn, that just shook my whole little world, and you got to be able to, work through that and work past that in a high vibrational way without knocking yourself or regressing completely back to the beginning, where you started from. But that takes a lot of personal courage. That takes a lot of self-awareness in oneself to really get to that point. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with going and like, man, I need to go do a punching bag, or, just going to somebody like, dude, I just really need to vent, and I'm just about to vent, like all types of stuff is about to come out, because sometimes we need that, and there's definitely nothing wrong with going to, a therapist, because a lot of words, a lot of treatments and things of that nature has a stigma attached to it, so that, a lot of people don't go. Like, therapy has a very bad stigma, like, oh, well, you have to be psychotic or something has to be wrong with you to be able to go. No, it could be nobody else. There's no different than you going and talking to a therapist versus you talking to, your best friend. There is no difference. One person's paid and one person isn't. One person knows you and one person doesn't. And sometimes it's nice to get an outside objective opinion of somebody who don't know you all that well. That's how we end up bonding with, going working at a place, end up bonding with somebody at a job, because they are an outside source. So, because yeah, they know you, work wise, but they ain't in your life like that. So one day you might come to work and be like, "What's wrong?" You be like, "Dude, look, you usually don't do this, but man, look, let me tell you right here." And it's nice to get that outside objective opinion of, like, hey, how about this, or what about this, or what about this, and not like being very pessimistic and going, well, no, that's not gonna work, and no, that's not gonna work. And I mean, yeah, sometimes we are gonna go through those habits where we're like, no, that's not gonna work, this not gonna work. Trust me, I done been there. I was one of those people that got to the point, like, I was very optimistic. So to even get to a point where I became extremely pessimistic, like, I knew something was wrong, but sometimes you gotta, like, reject every idea just to, like, a way of venting and releasing, but then going back, sitting with yourself, or getting your emotion together, coming back, like, hey, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I said that was gonna work, but I actually thought about it, like, hey, you know what, that could work, or like, yeah, maybe not exactly the way you said it. So I decided to do something like what you said, but I decided to add this to it or that to it, and it did work. Whatever the case may be. But even still, that's progress, that's healing, that's showing acceptance, and not just being at the will of fate. That's forward movement. you know that's great progression in a high vibrational way. As long as you are moving forward and actually working towards doing better and not just saying it, that's progression. And that brings another topic, to mind, when it comes to, a lot of us can see the potential in people. Everybody has light within them and the potential to bring forth that light, but not everybody's going to do it. How you know is the difference is somebody truly working towards, whether they fall 7 times, but no matter how many times they fall, they keep on getting up and keep on rising, keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. Eventually they're going to get it. That's somebody trying to bring out their light. That's somebody working past just someone being able to see their potential. But then somebody saying it and then do it for a little bit, then backsliding, and do it a little bit for again, and then backsliding, and then that's not serious. You might have to take a step back, like, hey, this situation ain't good for me or you, and there's nothing wrong with that. It don't mean they're a bad person. It don't mean that they just, hell, for all you stepping back might be their tower moment to get their stuff together, or change their ways, or whatever the case may be. And then if they actually do, you have the choice, and they come back, you have the choice whether to accept them back, and allow them physically back in your life, or not. Because a lot of people feel that, oh, well, now I'm back, now I'm healed, I done worked on myself, so now I can just come back. And it's not always that simple, because let's say if you're working on yourself too, and they don't meet your vibration, and let's say they finally get to a point where they didn't changed or healed or whatever, but the whole time that y'all were apart, and you didn't work on yourself that whole time too, but that's completely up to you, to each his own. And there's nothing wrong with something that person back, and there's nothing wrong with going, I'm proud of you, I'm glad you did what you had to do, but no thank you. There is no hard feelings. It's nothing, nothing personal. It's just I realized, within myself, that you was a leaf or whatever the case may be. A lot of people do take that, very, very personal. And you're like, no, and there is nothing wrong with that. Now, other people can, get up and meet you right there at your level. You be just, and then you go forward to be friends or be cool. Whatever the situation is. But it's all about experience. It's all about, life. There are no bad experiences. And that's the main summary of going through all of this. There are no bad experiences. Because I know with, Mercury retrograde and everything, so a lot of people having tower moments, and, we're all having tower moments. We're all doing, healing and, karma coming back and cleansing and growth and, restoration. I drank some juice before I came out here. Probably shouldn't do that. See, a little caffeine free stuff. And, so I know well, apparently that's why Spirit see 11:07. Apparently that's why Spirit led me to this topic, because I was about to fall asleep. I was watching TV and about to snooze all off, and they was like, "Nope, get up and go make a video." So here I am. But this is just encouraging words to let you know that you are definitely not alone. We're all going through it one way, shape, or another, different forms, different ways. Because it is hard being out here and thinking that you're alone, you're the only person going through this, and, especially going through a spiritual awakening and being on this twin flame journey. There's very few people to really talk to and reach out to, because, a lot of people in most of our external environments is like, what, you got to explain like the whole thing just to try to express what it is that you want to express, and by that time, you so exhausted trying to explain the whole story, you just like, never mind. You answer their questions because now they curious and want to know, and they probably going through a little awakening while you explain it, and it gets to be a lot. It gets to be a lot trying to explain all the stuff just so we can vent. So I get you, I get it. And just want to let you know that you are not alone. And make your choices that are best for you at all times and nobody else. That's on your path, that is in tune with you, for you. And just be happy, live your life. Things will get better, no matter how bad it seems, no matter what you have gone through. You are exactly where you are because you're supposed to be. Ain't nobody on this earth. We're all exactly where we're supposed to be at this very moment. At this very exact moment. Even if somebody made you mad and cut you off earlier, you got into, somebody tail end you, and and now you gotta get your car fixed and stuff like that. Maybe you weren't supposed to make it to work. Maybe you gonna end up getting a payout on a car and get you a newer car. I mean, whatever the case may be, it happened for a reason. Maybe you was told to stop speeding and stuff, and you still didn't do it, and you're like, okay, no, I really gotta stop speeding. Whatever the case may be. I was rushing because I still didn't get up, on time, whatever the case may be. No, it happened for a reason. And although we may not see what that reason is and be able to smile right now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks, hell, even 3 years from now, know that it will get better. It will get better. The only thing constant in this life is change and nothing else. So with every day you wake up, as long as you breathing, I don't care about nothing else. As long as you are breathing, Just be thankful, because just that alone, you might not be doing that. So that's just the smallest of thing. You're breathing. If that's the only thing you could be happy for of that day, because you just go, just when you do that breath, just cherish that breath like throughout anything else. Everything else in this day might be hell, but I'm breathing. And I'm going to go ahead and end that there. I'll keep looking at the time, and it's 11:11, so I'm going to go ahead and end that right on there. I'm going to see y'all later on. Probably go ahead and flip some cards out tomorrow. Working on this nice, beautiful deck. Been slowly procrastinating my reading. Yeah, man, I work better under pressure. Yeah, I'm a procrastinator. That's something I got to change. I'm working. I told y'all, we all working on something. But yeah, let me get out of here so I can fall asleep reading this book instead of watching TV. Even though I'm probably honestly about to go in there and finish watching TV and pick back up tomorrow. I might flip through like 2 or 3 pages and then watch TV. Okay, let me stop telling myself. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.